In my first video, we went over unboxing and planning of how we were going to set up our Boundry line, and this is just me installing the charging station.
Alright, so we got the base station hooked up. We see that we've got red lights, so we know it's getting power. Got plenty of wire here to run it farther down if we needed to. I'm just going to clean all this up later. I'll tack this down closer to the house so it doesn't get snagged by anything. So the next thing to do was to move this into position. We've got the two charging plates here, two charging plates here. We're supposed to move it forward so that the plates are at least 45 degrees forward. We see the light turn green, and we see that we are charging now at 30%. So we will sit there and let that charge while we start to get the ground wire put in. Okay, so before we get started with the ground wire, they suggested to take the ruler that they gave us and put it up against the house and stake down the wire and then move forward a little bit, move the ruler, stake it down, move it. So I found somebody else that had a really good idea that I'm going to try. Is I got some marking tape or some marking paint, and all I'm going to do is cut a piece of wood to the length of 10.2 inches, 26 centimeters, what they recommend to go out from the house. And then I will tape the can to it, and then all I have to do is just run the wood along the house as I spray. So then I'll have a perfect line, and I won't have to do it in, small sections. So I'll be able to do one quick line, then go back, bury the cable, do another quick line all the way down, bury the cable, so forth and so forth, instead of slowly inching along. I think this will help it a little bit quicker. So we'll see what happens.
The YouTube video that I referenced just a second ago is a video that was uploaded by the WorkshopAddict. I'm going to go ahead and post a link to that video as well in my description in case you want to look at that one as well.
So I've got my scrap wood here. You can see that I've got the ruler that they gave me to measure out how far they wanted. But I'm going to have to justify how to get the tip right on the edge here. So I don't want to cut the wood right here, because then I'm going to have another inch over, and then that if I put this right up against the wood as I'm spraying, I'm going to be an inch off, which is going to make all the grass that the mower doesn't get an inch farther in. So I need to kind of cut it. If I want the Y in here, I need to cut. Of course, I don't have a pencil. I'm just going to hold this up against the wood. You can see my mark right on there. So I'm going to want to cut my wood just about there. Now this will be my little marker spot. And now come here. Let me get you out of the way. Now I have a perfect piece of wood that when I hold this up against it, I'll be able to run this against the house as I'm spraying, and it should give me the right distance. So these are the small stakes that they have to hold the cable into the ground. Even though we're going to trench it, we're going to put these in just to make sure that they don't pop up. They give you a whole bag, as I showed you earlier. The only issue that I see with these is that they're all connected together. So I'm going to go ahead and go through this bag, and when you take one off, you've got this little clip here on the side. Yay. Hey, WORX. Is there anything you can do about that? That would be awesome. But we're going to take all these apart in the bag and then take these little clips off just to try and make it a little bit quicker.
I initially said that I saw a problem with the stakes being connected. That was a poor choice of words. It's not a problem. The stakes are actually really well manufactured. The support pieces in between the stakes, I was expecting them to be way more difficult to get off than what they were. I was expecting to have to get some shears or some kind of scissors and cut them off, but they actually broke off of the spikes very easily and very cleanly. So I was impressed with that. The stakes are very well done. I think by putting in a little extra prep work at the beginning and taking each of these stakes apart saved me a good bit of time, and I'm happy that I did it. I would certainly suggest breaking these apart and just having a bag of loose stakes instead of trying to break them apart while you're in the yard trying to put the wire in. Here you can see me using the piece of wood that we cut earlier and taped the paint can to measure the line out from the house the right distance. This actually did make it very quick to set the perimeter, and when I get to the trees and the curvy portions around my shed, this made it very easy to do. So this was a good idea. You can see me using the weed whacker here to kind of create a trench and cut the grass out of the way of where I'm going to lay the line. So I sprayed a white line and then cut the white line out with the weed whacker, and then you can see me coming in here with some yard stakes and starting to lay down the wire. And when you lay down the wire, you have to remember that the wire has to go into the center of the charging base and then back up the little arm that stands behind it. So when you lay down that first wire, you want to give yourself enough extra wire at the beginning and extra wire at the end when you finally make it all the way around your yard that it can go to the connection points on the charging base. I did have a small issue. This was my own fault while I was laying the boundary wires down, and we're going to go into that in part 3 of this video.